You're listening to the premiere episode of Vegas Scores and Odds presents the Mike North Advantage. It's recorded live and intended for all audiences.
You know anybody else that good?
No.
They'll tell you they are. They may think they are, but we're documented every single week. The eye is on us.
That's
and I ain't
right.
talking about the eye of CBS, the public eye. The first feeling I got when I won a bet was elation. The worst feeling was when I lost a bet and I wanted to jump off a balcony.
Give me a quick betting tip.
Yeah, do win and don't lose, but usually it doesn't always work out that way. How many times you heard this? I'm going to Vegas. I go, how'd you do? Well, if I lost $4,000, but you go there to have fun. No, you go there to win. And that's what's wrong with people. They have the negative mentality in anything they do, including sports, before they even lay the bet down. So you got to be positive. Vegas Scores and Odds is the landing place that gave me an opportunity to handicap. They let me show what I could do, and there's packages, there's free picks. What do you do when you perform, and what does Vegas Scores and Odds do when you perform? They reward you, and they take care of you, and that's why we're ready to do this show.
Vegas Scores and Odds presents the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now. That's right, the Mike North Advantage starts right now. I am Aldo Gandia, Mike's wingman, and we have got another jam-packed show for you tonight. And welcome to the premiere episode of Vegas Scores and Odds presents the Mike North Advantage. Mike North, how are you, my friend?
I couldn't be better, and I know you're ready to go. I know, Aldo, you're going into the land of the unknown. Forget about going to the equator. Forget about going to the Amazon jungle. Forget about going to the tropics, wherever the tropics may be. Could be in the Caribbean, could be off of Florida. You're going to the Gambling Institute. That's where you're going, and it's going to be great because we got a brand new sponsor, folks, VegasScoresandOdds.com. And I want everybody out there, stop what you're doing. If you're driving, steer with one hand, all right? Use the phone with the other hand. You people are pros. Or pull over. I want you to just put in the contact Vegas, or put VSAO, which means Vegas Scores and Odds. And, put in this number, 1-800-808-3419. Anytime you want to call that number, you'll get a free pick. 1-800-808-3419. Plus, you know what? You'll get info from the premier handicapping site in the country, VegasScoresandOdds.com. It's the only site you'll ever need, folks. So I'm telling you, 1-800-808-3419, because we're ready to go. They want to go to the next level. They've been doing this for a long time. And Aldo, when I met Jeff Allen like 5-6 years ago, and I said I want to have the late great Jeff Allen, I said I want to have a handicap platform. And he sort of smirked at me. He goes, well, we'll help you along. Well, folks, I'm second all time over there. And what VegasScoresandOdds.com has is the top handicappers in the country, who we'll talk about later on. But also, we have there's a great Twitter website, okay? And you go to VSAO Sports, okay? So go to Vegas Scores and Odds. They got Twitter. They got it all. So we're ready to go, Aldo. I know you're excited. I'm excited. We're going to talk about some picks. We got 3 picks tonight, but we're going to switch the show, the time of the show, to coincide and help the people in Vegas and all the people out there that listen to this podcast.
Right.
Because there's a lot of 6 o'clock games here in Chicago, and they start at 4 o'clock. Or 5 o'clock, some of the games on the West Coast, especially in Las Vegas. So what we're going to do is we're going to start our show next week at 3 o'clock. The podcast will be up by 4 Central, which is like 2 o'clock on the West Coast. So everybody will get the picks before they go to the window.
Yeah, just like today. There's a couple of games where the puck is dropping and the ball is being tipped off, NHL and NBA playoffs. And so we want to make sure that we are out there on time for you guys to listen to Mike's betting tips and then place your bet. Let me tell you something, Mike. I am not only excited about our new venture with Vegas Scores and Odds, I'm also excited about the fact that I'm going to learn how to be a better so that I can have confidence. You know, in the Open, you said, you know, you go to Vegas and you don't have any confidence. Well, that's sort of me. That's always been me because I was always unsure of how to bet and so forth. So over the next few weeks, you are going to transform me into a professional bettor, and I'm looking forward to it.
You're going to be a beast. You're going to be a beast. You're going to be an immovable object. What we're going to do is, see, when Jimmy the Greek was a great entertainer, and he was a very poor gambler. Mm-hmm. Okay, in my opinion, mm-hmm. He didn't teach you how to win. He more or less taught you how to bet. He just basically was, to me, when I watched him, he would usually be a chalk guy at times. He did take some dogs. He mixed it up a little bit. I give him all the credit in the world because what we're doing today, he did 40 years ago, which is unbelievable in the 70s. But I grew up when kids were watching cartoons. I was watching Wayne Root. I was watching Stu Feiner. I was watching Jim Feist. You know, 12-year-old kids. You know, let's go play baseball. I go, I can't, man. There's a betting show coming on. You know? I used to watch them. 12, 13, 14, 15. I mean, these guys were like personalities to me. They were larger than life. They wore the rings. They wore the suits. And then I met the real guys. And then they taught me how to put in a bet, how to place a bet, how much juice you pay when you lose for 10%. They didn't teach me the ins and outs and how to win. That's why I handed off an envelope 3 out of every 4 times yearly. Mm-hmm. And then 6 years ago, I turned it all around. I said, I'm going to turn this into a business. I've told you the story many times before, yes. But we have some new listeners tonight from around the country.
Around the world.
I know the Vegas Scores and Odds guys got us going tonight. Mm-hmm. We're going to have the podcast up after the show as quickly as we can because there's some 8 o'clock games tonight. Right. But next week, we're going to be on at 3. And you know what? We're going to be doing the same Mike North advantage for Vegas Scores and Odds that we've done. They like the show. We're not going to give you 50 picks. I got 3 picks for you tonight. I got a couple picks up at VegasScoresandOdds.com. And the thing I love about it, go to the front page of VegasScoresandOdds.com, folks, and go to the front page and see the scoreboard. They keep track. Since I've worked there 5-6 years ago, they've had a lot of turnover of handicappers. Handicappers that a lot of them, not all, some leave on their own, some get better deals somewhere else, but a lot of them have left because they couldn't handicap. And the scoreboard's there. They keep a running total. I'm 175 games over 500. They couldn't get rid of me if they wanted to. And I don't think they want to.
No.
I think they're great people. I'm really proud that we're with them. Dial up 1-800-808-3419, folks, or put it in your phone. You don't have to dial it up. Do me a favor. I never asked anything of anybody at the bar. Have I, Aldo?
Never.
Have I ever asked anybody for anything?
Never.
Just put it in 1-800-808-3419 and put it in there. And believe me, folks, you will not regret it because my picks are on there. You know what? I'll give a free pick every so often, so you could go to the site and check it out.
You know, Mike, some people in the chat room are kidding with me and saying that I'm going to become rich and buy a condo in Vegas, which I wouldn't mind. I like Vegas. But have you ever thought about moving to Vegas? You're not only the prototypical Chicagoan, but you've also got that Vegas vibe to you. You ever thought about moving out there?
You know what? I wanted to live out there a long time ago, and I wanted to be a dealer when I was in my 20s. I just loved the life. I loved the lights. I loved the party. But then, you know, I started visiting, and I would go to. I've been to Vegas about 50, 60 times, and I had property out there. I just sold a couple condos out there. Me and B looked for a house in Summerlin about 7-8 years ago, and 9 years ago, about big time houses with a pool. And then we decided to stay here. And then when I found out, I kept my condos, and I used to go to the Resort. I mean, you know, I rent the condos out. I go to the Resort. I'd stay by them. Great people. The Resort folks, believe me when I tell you this. Check it out. You'll never go wrong. Good people. Go say hi. to Bruno at the steakhouse, all the fine people with baby cakes. You'll love it. So I started staying there. And, you know, when you live there, you don't get room service and all this stuff. And I don't know. I didn't think living there year-round would be good. So we were going to do it 6 months out of the year. But then, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I don't know, they were talking about legalizing sports gambling all over the country. And the biggest reason I go to Vegas, besides taking my wife there, and she likes to go shopping, she likes to, you know, to go to the restaurants, we have fun, but was the sports gamble. Well, I said, why should I have all this stuff out there? I'll liquidate all that stuff, get the cash. I'll sell my condos, which I just did. I said, I've just recently, I retired, I thought. Now, my God, I'm on ESPN. I'm going to be on WGN Saturday night with Pat Tomasulo's Man of the People.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to be doing, oh, yeah, they just gave me a call today. I'm going to be doing a skit, I guess, with Robin Baumgarten.
Oh, nice.
It's a real popular show.
Yes.
They called me. They asked me if I'd like to be on. I says, absolutely. So I'm going to be on the show tonight with the great Aldo Gandia, Vegas Scores and Odds, which is huge for us, and of course, the Great Bears Barroom on Monday nights. And then I'm going to be on Friday on The Odds Couple on ESPN at 6 to 7. I also do a phone hit with Yurko and Carmen at 1:45. And then Saturday night, I'm going to be on Pat Tomasulo's show, who, by the way, he doesn't even know this, but I'm sure somebody will tell him that's listening. We have him as sort of like the odds-on favorite to play Tom Scher for the Score movie.
Really?
Well, you know, when you look at Tom Scher in his younger years and Pat,
right,
there's a likeness.
There is. Yeah, I
think Tom was a little bigger, but
yes.
we had considered him before. And then all of a sudden I don't know if it's karma. All of a sudden we get a call from the producer today. Mike, we want you to come down. Welcome back. We missed you in Chicago, and it's good to see you on ESPN and on your podcast. And so I'm going to be on. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So it's a hell of a week so far.
Wow, you're going to make Tomasulo a movie star. That is unreal. I love it.
Aldo, you're going to be into. I don't know how big these parts are going to be, okay?
Yeah.
You're going to be the night watchman. You know that I promised it to you. Nobody else wants that coveted role.
I thought I'd be the guy outside the Score building, down on my luck and asking you for a quarter or something.
You're the guy. No, you're the guy stalking Terry Boers. You follow him from remote to remote.
There you go.
There you go. And I'll tell you what, there's plenty of action. We've had, here's one thing I know we'll never have on the Vegas Scores and Odds show. VegasScoresandOdds.com never has any problem generating interest on handicapping and wagering. There's always games. And by the way, we had a sad story today. Omaha Beach, the odds-on favorite in the Kentucky Derby, had to pull out. And they've been promoting this horse big. Wow. And he was supposed to be the odds-on. He was 4-1 right now. And they pulled him out because he's got a breathing problem, which isn't good if you're a racehorse and you're going to be running in the Kentucky Derby. There's a sinus problem or something, so they had to pull him out. They said it's not going to be life-threatening, and he's going to be able to continue racing. But, man, this is your shot.
Yeah.
This is your shot. And I know they're very disappointed, but they're happy he's going to be okay. And at the end of the day, it's all really, when it comes down to these horses in the Kentucky Derby, it's really how many foals can they bang? You know what I mean? How many? It's all about the stud fees, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen that process before. It's quite the
My
sight.
God. They have some guy just take care of the horse to get him going, right? That's what I hear. Or they have another horse walking around in his skirts. I don't know what the hell goes on. They got a band in the corner. I have no idea. But Secretary, I know these horses live after they're done racing for 3 years. Okay, 3 years. They get all the chicks they want for the next 30. I like that idea.
That is their job.
I only knew one person like that in my whole life, Hugh Hefner.
He had the best job
Hugh
ever.
Hefner at Secretariat. Salute!
That is great. So we're going to talk to ponies, too. That is thrilling. Heart 4803 is sad to hear about the favorite and the Derby coming out, but I'm glad to hear that we're going to talk to ponies, too.
What we're going to do is in Las Vegas, if Vegas scores an odds, we're going to talk about 4 things mainly.
Okay.
Really 3. We're going to talk about, like we always do, baseball, football, basketball, our local teams, the playoffs, and we're going to talk about hockey during the playoffs because it's the best. Oh. If you bet hockey, folks, you should have a resuscitator next to you. The paddles. It's really good stuff. And I got a hockey game for everybody tonight, the late game for everybody, so stay tuned. But the Kentucky Derby is special. You know what I mean?
You gotta
maybe
talk
a fight.
Yeah.
You know, Canelo Alvarez, or, you know, when he fights somebody big, somebody like that. Those are special things, but don't ever confuse it. We are the 4 main sports, more or less. If you want soccer and some of those other things, which are very popular, go somewhere else for that. I can't help you there. I'm not going to pick Manchester United when I have no idea of where Manchester United is, where the players are, and it's soccer. Period. Period. Sorry.
I hear you. We'll leave that to somebody else. All right, let's talk a little baseball right now. You know, I read this really good article on ESPN.com. Our friends over there, David Schonenfield wrote this, and he basically graded every baseball team in the majors. And I wanted to talk to you about the only team he gave an A+ to, and it's the Tampa Bay Rays. They've been red hot this season. I think they have the best winning percentage in all of baseball, although they have cooled off a little bit lately. They're 5-5. But I wanted to ask you, a team like that is playing so well on the baseball field, are they usually a good bet for somebody, or do you have to? There have to be other considerations, correct?
Well, you know what? They're one of the teams that started. They were the ones that started pitching the starter 1 inning,
right?
And then going to others players. They're the ones that had started the opening stuff. In other words, they have good pitching, they have decent hitting, they have a good manager, but I don't think they're the best bet in baseball right now. I don't think they're going to win it. Although Boston looks very bad right now. Wow. Chris Sale was 0-5. Yeah. The Yankees have had nothing but injuries. There really is nobody except Tampa Bay that is sort of sticking out in the American League. So, you know what? It might be a good bet. And you know what? If you live in Tampa Bay, you bet it. If you're a professional bettor, you pick. You know, I don't bet just one team. If I'm going to bet a team on futures, I bet 3 or 4. Just like I bet the golfers that week. I bet 4 or 5 guys.
Okay.
I'm not going to bet one team out of 30 and play.
Right.
Just like the Kentucky Derby. I like to bet 4 or 5 horses past 10-1. This way, you know, if one of those hits, man, you're okay. Sometimes you hit it. I hit a 20-1 one year. Usually, and now the Kentucky Derby's going to be wide open because the favorite Omaha Beach is out. So I'm not big on futures betting, although I'd rather bet these teams on an individual daily basis. That's what I usually do. You got to be too patient. You got to wait 6 months to cash your ticket. Maybe you put some down for fun, but I'd rather take that money over the next 6 months and bet it on games daily.
You know, this writer, you mentioned the Red Sox being off to a poor start. He gave them the lowest grade of all the majors. F- he gave them. And that probably the biggest disappointment in all of baseball. You know, everybody's got over there at ESPN, the main mothership, as Dan Patrick calls it. They got a little bit of an East Coast bias. And so when a team like the Red Sox gets off to such a poor start, you know, that's panic city for them because it probably impacts their ratings, and it certainly impacts the producers and reporters who half of them are Red Sox fans.
Yeah, well, you know what? I've always, you know, we always knew the bias, and you know what? I work for ESPN right now, but I mean, even the people that work there notice the bias. I mean, you know, so that's fine. It doesn't matter to me, but yeah, I mean, when you're scheduling games, probably Yankees versus Red Sox in August and September, and you're a TV guy, right now you got to be very concerned.
Right.
Right now, to me, the National League teams are the stars. The Yankees, they're fine, but they have a lot of injuries. The Red Sox, you got guys like Chris Sale, 0-5. Alex Cora in his second year, I thought he'd be coming back with gangbusters. They're shocking me. To me, the Milwaukees of the world, the Cubs, the Phillies with Harper, the Braves with Freddie Freeman. The National League, to me, has more interesting side stories and has more interesting teams. The Cubs. Are you kidding me? I mean, so you got the Cubs, the Braves, the Cardinals with Goldsmith, 3 million people a year they're drawing. They're a small market team and they're drawing 3 million. They act like a big market team. So I saw the White Sox today. Did you see that picture on Twitter?
No, I missed
with the umpires at home plate?
No.
There's 10 people in the stands.
Oh,
10.
no, jeez.
And well, really, there's 300, but the other 200 are vendors.
Oh,
you know what? There's
so
only
sad.
one person that has it worse than a homeless person. That's a vendor at Comiskey Park today. Oh, my God. Man, get your Coke here. And he's sitting next to the only guy in the seat. It's ridiculous. So, hopefully, and it was, you know what, all kidding aside, though, excuse me, the weather's been brutal.
Yes.
The weather's been brutal. And you know what, if I lived across the street, I wouldn't go to the game tonight. So I understand. And when it gets warmer, they're playing much better baseball.
Yeah.
They really are. But they're having trouble generating a fan base because they lost their season ticket fan base because they've ignored the fans for so many years.
Mm-hmm. Well, the grades that this writer gave the Chicago teams, he gave the Chicago White Sox a C-. He said that the best storyline for that team this year has been Tim Anderson, who is probably going to win the Player of the Month award. And he, of course, questioned I'm sorry. I got confused here. I'm looking now at the Chicago Cubs. He questioned the Addison Russell move that they're probably going to bring him up to the majors soon. But he gave the Cubs a C+. What do you think about this Addison Russell debate that's going on? Should he come back to the Cubs? Should he sit out longer, or what?
Well, first of all, I didn't know this. They're like 120 games over 500 when he plays short.
Wow.
Yeah. They're like look up the record. They printed it today. Addison Russell, when he plays short, they're like 100-some games over 500, number one. Number two, they option him to AAA. But I think, man, he's a good ball player. They went through all this with him. Now do you cut ties with him after you went through everything with him? Or are you afraid it's going to happen again?
Yeah. It's
what do you do if you're them, Aldo? Because you know what? You got Baez, you got Zobrist at second, you got Baez at short. But you're a Baez injury away or a Zobrist injury away from needing an Addison Russell.
Yeah. Well, they've got plenty of players who are playing well in his place. But, having been in
but that's Baez.
That is correct.
That's Baez. So that's the guy that's playing short for Addison Russell for the most part. Zobrist has been playing more second. Baez can play second too, but Baez has been playing great. But if one of them gets hurt, wouldn't it be nice to have Addison Russell?
Absolutely.
Then Baez can move to second. I'm just saying, if he's going to pay his punishment and then it's over, why did you go through all this with him to let him go?
Right.
Unless there's been a lot of other stuff that you knew about besides the incidences that we do know about swept under the rug, and maybe that's concerning because there's been multiple times.
Right. I think, having been in the communications business all my life, the first thing that you got to do is start to get the story out there about what he has done to kind of rehabilitate himself and become a better human being, because we all deserve second chances.
Sure.
And I know that, domestic violence is one of the most serious things, and you got to be very, very careful with that. But if he has gone through, counseling, and he has gone through some serious changes in his life, that needs to be communicated to the public, and therefore people will welcome him back to the majors in open arms. Harp 4803 says, showcase Russell and trade him. And that's probably a good idea. Get rid of the problem.
Yeah, well, you know what? If that's what they should do, I'm just saying that they stuck by him this long.
Sure.
Now they've decided maybe under pressure. Who knows? Because maybe, he's done what he's supposed to. He took his suspension. Look, if he's let go, he's let go. I don't think whether he's there or not, they're playing pretty good baseball right now.
Right.
But somebody's going to get a decent shortstop. I'll tell you that right now. I really do. By the way, folks, if you want to tweet at Vegas Scores and Odds. Do me a favor. Follow him here at VSAO Sports. VSAO Sports. Give him a follow. Follow VegasScoresandOdds.com. Yeah, so, I'm looking at the Cubs, and I'm looking at the Sox, and I think the Sox are a pleasant surprise to me. Tim Anderson's a shocker to me.
Yeah.
I thought last year, I said, gee, nice going. You signed a guy for a $20 million deal for 6 years. He's in the second year, and he can't hit his weight. Well, look at him now. And I never dreamt he'd be the best shortstop in the league. And that's what he is right now. Give credit where credit's due. Moncada's playing better. Jimenez got hurt again. I don't think he's a left fielder. To be honest with you folks, if you've seen him in the outfield, they should put a cowbell around his neck to warn the other outfielders. He's coming. My God, he's horrible. He is absolutely horrible. I don't know if that's going to work out. But they're playing better ball. Renteria has done a decent job with them. Their pitching's gotten better. Don Cooper was taking hits earlier, seems to have more of a grasp of what's going on. So you got to be encouraged. And the Cubs, I still think they're winning it all. And I didn't base the Cubs on going to the World Series whether Anderson Russell was going to be there or not.
I'm going to switch the topic now. I love your analysis. You said it all.
Very good, Mike. Thank you very much, and we enjoyed your company. Good night now.
I was going to switch.
I had to do it because I didn't do it on Monday.
That's right. You know what?
I was so disappointed. Pete goes, why can't you sleep? I go, Eldo went, and I didn't act on it.
I did it 3 or 4 times, and you didn't. You gave
My
me a
God.
pass every time.
It was a home fest.
Well, on that show and earlier on this show, you talked about NHL hockey and betting on it. And on our last show, you talked about how much fun is NHL playoff hockey. And I want to play a clip for you because the Blues and Dallas Stars are playing a little later tonight. Maybe that's going to be one of the...
Yes, they are, my friend. I'll have a pick on that one.
Excellent. Well, again, I mean, you talk about thrilling. Here we are in the third period of that game. The series is tied 1-1. There's about 1 minute and 40 seconds to go, and then this happens.
Back behind the net, Maroon with it, out in front with a shot. He celebrates, he scores! Pat Maroon beating Ben Bishop with 1 minute 38 remaining. The Blues go back on top.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, NHL hockey is so thrilling. Most of these games are very close. So many of the games are going into overtime, and you're just on the edge of your seat as a bettor. Oh my goodness, you're talking about heart rate time going off the charts.
Yeah, and by the way, I had the Blues Sunday. I lost 3-2. And you know what? You're right. Here's the deal. If you want to get a puck and a half, there's been like 16, 18 games. There's more games already gone to overtime this year than all last year through the whole playoffs.
Wow.
Okay? That's unbelievable. They're all 1-point games. So, here's what they do. Here's what they do in Vegas. Here's what the odds makers do. You want that point and a half? You're going to pay for it. For instance, tonight, the Blues, if you want to get a point and a half, a puck and a half, that means you're winning 1.5-0, man. In games that are like 3-2, 4-3, 2-1. I mean, there's very rarely been so far 5-0, 3-0,
right.
4-2 games. If you get one of those and you get a puck and a half, it does you no good because if you lose 4-2, that puck and a half means you lost 4-3.5. Now, if I wanted to bet the Blues tonight and get a puck and a half, I have to put $270 down to win 100.
Okay.
So that means I want a puck and a half. Okay, sir, here's your puck and a half. You have St. Louis. It's $270 for 100. So if I want to win $500, I got to put almost $1,200 down at the beginning to win 500 because that's what they're telling you. That's why they're making the price so high to pay for that goal and a half because most of these games, Aldo, end up 1-point games.
Yeah, exactly. I can see Vegas's point of view there.
Oh yeah, if they were just giving even money, if they were saying you could bet 100 to win 100 on a puck and a half, they get killed. They have to make it. You want that puck and a half, and you want to win $100, you have to put 250, 260, 270 down, which is insane in a way.
Yeah.
But I've done it, and I've been okay with it. But man, when you lose that one game,
that one
like
hurts.
let's say you put $1,000 down. You know, let's say it's 200 for a $1.50, and you put $1,000 down to win 5, and then you lose. It's no fun.
Yeah, it's no fun. I see Mike there.
Hey, you know, somebody said to me, I'll never forget, I'm at O'Hare, and I'm talking to some guy. I go, where you going? He goes, I'm going to Colorado. I'm going skiing. You ever ski? I go, no. He goes, yeah, and then we're going to go jumping, what is that, where they fly around and with the wingsuits.
Yeah.
I go, man, are you kidding me? You're jumping off a cliff and then you fly? He goes, yeah. He goes, you ever do anything dangerous like that? I go, I bet on sports. He goes, oh, sorry, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult you. I go, it's okay. It's like betting on sports and winning is tougher than climbing Mount Everest. You get more help on Mount Everest.
That's right.
You got these guys, they carry everything for you. They put them on lines. They got them on donkeys.
I never
I'm
heard.
betting by myself. I'm in the corner crying, weeping. There's nobody for me.
I never heard of anybody losing their shirt when they're climbing Mount Everest. That's for sure.
Right?
Maybe a little.
They showed a piece on CBS. They got steps and everything now. Steps, rope ladders. They hook you to a line.
Yes.
What happened to just climbing the damn thing?
Yes.
And then they got 15 guys with you. And then you stay at camps. They got cooks, a cafeteria, a brunch.
Sounds like a
I don't think
vacation.
Sir Edmund Hillary, when he went to the North Pole, had a place to go for brunch.
That's great.
Right?
That is
Come
so
on now.
true. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you what you want to do. We promised our audience that you were going to pick your top 10 NBA players of all time.
Oh, you son of a gun, you. I thought you might forget. I never speak today.
No.
I had to make some tough decisions.
I bet you did.
Wow.
And we've got your picks to do. So which would you prefer to do first?
So I'm going to do the NBA first, but before we do that, I'd like to read a few spots, if I could, take care of our guys at Vegas Scores and Odds. Punch this number in your phone right now, folks. I'm telling you. I don't care if you're driving, if you're listening. Punch in 1-800-808-3419. 1-800-808-3419 for a free pick and info for the premier handicapping site in the country, VegasScoresandOdds.com. It's the only site you'll ever need. And folks, when I talk to you about Vegas Scores and Odds, I'm going to talk to you about some of the greatest handicappers in the country, all right, that I'm proud to be associated with. John Anthony, Mark Franco. I mean, these guys are solid, and their records are out there to be reviewed. Hollywood Anthony, Tony Sacco, Chase Diamond, Paul Bovey, Ray Monahan, Dennis Macklin. These are all great handicappers. And then, of course, yours truly. And if you go to the front page of Vegas Scores and Odds, folks, you will see I'm second all time with a record of 1,436 and 1,259, the tote board. So follow Vegas Scores and Odds on Twitter at VSAO. Pick packages which range from daily to weekly to monthly, or how about for the whole year? Dial up 1-800-808-3419. 1-800-808-3419 right now and win with me at VegasScoresandOdds.com. I give out winners. If you want to try, just buy a $25 package and see what happens. You'll be happy. Eldo wishes he did many months ago because he'd have summer homes now in Bolivia and parts of Argentina.
I just need help paying for a wedding in July.
Oh, my God, I heard. Oh, my God. B was telling me about it. You guys were talking about it. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, but it's also going to be expensive.
How much you play? You can have the Fiesta platter. Where you having it, pal?
It's a little small town just outside, just north of the Wisconsin border. So don't hate on me, Packer haters. But my daughter picked out a barn that they've refurbished, and so basically they're getting married on a farm. The ceremony is outdoors, and then the reception is in this refurbished barn, and it's really gorgeous up there. So maybe I'll remember the name.
Oh, that's something. I'll tell you what, a barn. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
right?
going to be cool. I love farms.
But
I love 'em.
The only problem is going to be probably about 85 degrees that day, so we'll see how I hold up on that.
Are you a sweaty guy?
Oh, my goodness. Am I ever?
Oh, by midnight, the undercarriage has had enough.
You got it.
Oh, baby.
Hey, before we make our picks here, all of those great handicappers that you mentioned, somebody asked me last week, and I'm forgetting who it was that asked if any of those handicappers might be future guests on the show.
No.
Okay. Next
Absolutely not. Because you know what? Once you get one on, you got to get them all on. I'm the spokesman. I'm going to take care of the baby. You know me. We don't have a lot of guests on any of our shows.
That's right.
You know what? They're not going to tell you. For the most part, we may get the Grand Poobah on.
Oh, yeah.
We may get the big boy on.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm really for sending out the message. They'd rather hear the phones ring than be on the show. But if we need them to help us sell, definitely we could. Listen, they can do whatever they want. They're paying the freight, Aldo. So if they want to come on next week, they can come on next week.
Absolutely.
I'm just having fun. But seriously, this is the challenge for us, is to increase a great business.
Mm-hmm.
They've already been there for, I think, years. So we're very honored to have them. We really, really are. Now, tonight we got my top 10 NBA picks.
Ooh.
Okay?
All right. Are you ready? We're going to begin, of course, with... Somebody just said
What
10.
the hell was that? Wait a minute. I just took a Pepto. What was that?
That was
All
my,
right.
that was
Was
my
that
buddy.
supposed to mean that this is number 10?
Correct.
And then we're going to work our way down to 1?
Yes.
Okay.
I got to have a talk
Believe
with the
me.
guy in the sound effects department.
My God, who the hell was that? Huh?
I think it was the ghost of Will Chamberlain.
I love Wilt.
Oh, of
Wilt
course.
was the man. He really was. I'll tell you, I had to make some tough decisions at the end of the day, and it really wasn't easy, because when you start thinking about all the players in the league, for instance, I'm going to tell you who didn't make my team.
Okay.
One of my favorite players, Dirk Nowitzki, didn't make my team. Didn't make my top 10. I mean, if it would have been a 12-man team, he might be a 12th man.
Right.
But I had to keep him up. Moses Malone.
Yeah.
I mean, great players. Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
Bob McAdoo, a 3-time scoring champ. My favorite guy, Pete Maravich. Isaiah Thomas. These guys did not make the team. John Stockton didn't make the team.
Wow.
So when you hear me talk about it and say, hey, Mike, you could have been, you should have had this guy on. You should have had that guy on. Wait a minute. Hold on. I had to keep some of my favorite players. I had to keep John Havlicek off the team. I don't have Bill Russell on the team. How's that?
Wow.
Everybody likes to put Bill Russell on. Let me tell you, today's NBA, Bill Russell is a relic, okay?
Really?
Period. Yeah, Will Chamberlain was the man when he played up on Bill. He didn't have the team. But Bill Russell was 6'9".
Mm-hmm.
And he's a post guy. He'd get killed today. Yeah. Kevin Durant's 7 foot, and he's a 3-point shooter.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Magic Johnson as a point guard was bigger than Bill Russell.
Ooh.
So I'd love to have him on the team. And I know he's won all those championships. I'd like to have Havlicek on the team. I'd like to have Jerry West on the team. I kept them off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 10, and I'm going to work my way there, and then maybe everybody will understand. Okay?
Let's do this.
All right. Aldo's going, Jesus, I asked you for 10 minutes ago to make these picks, and you're still explaining. For God's sake. Okay. I'm going to go number 1.
Okay.
Number 10.
Number 10.
Karl Malone.
All right.
Okay? Karl Malone would have won a couple titles. I'm always going to say he would have won a couple titles except for one guy, Michael Jordan. Okay? Mm-hmm. If Jordan hadn't been on the Bulls, I really believe Utah's got at least one championship with Stockton, Malone, and that crew. I think Karl Malone, he's one of the top, easily one of the top 10 scorers of all time, a big rebounder. In the game that was played up until 10 years ago, there was no more dominant a power forward in the history of the game, I don't think. By the way, let me tell everybody this, too. I had to keep Kevin McHale off this team.
Whoa.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But when I assessed everything, I said, who is the main man at Utah? And it was Karl Malone.
Yeah, you're absolutely
Who was
right.
the main man at Boston? It wasn't McHale. So that's how I made the decision. And as much as I love Kevin, I picked Karl Malone, number 10. Now people are going to go, well, why didn't you pick McHale number 9 then? No, McHale's 10 or he's nothing.
Okay.
Because these other guys are sensational. Are you ready for 9? You're liking this, aren't you?
I love this.
You actually know I did my homework tonight, didn't you?
I did
Right?
send you a text to remind you that we were doing it, but I have a feeling you already were done with your top 10. Hey,
Well, I started thinking about it this morning. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I looked at the top 100 players of all time. Mm-hmm. My God, there's some great players.
Really?
I just told you the guys I can't even put on.
Yes.
Scottie Pippen's not on. Dennis Rodman's not on. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are. Willis Reed's not on.
Hey, I got to tell you this. NDFFF, I think I'm reading that correctly. He says that Stockton made Malone. What do you say to that?
Who would Stockton have passed to?
He would have.
Once Malone got the ball, they couldn't stop him. Yeah. And we remember, Barkley was in the league. There were some great power forwards in this league.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Malone was better than Barkley. I mean, he really was. Mm-hmm. So I got Malone 10.
Okay.
Now, number 9, may be controversial, maybe not. I'm going on speculation. I have Steph Curry as number 9 right now.
Steph Curry.
He's not done playing yet. He's going to have 3 titles already. Mm-hmm. Okay? Before Steph Curry came into the league, LeBron James was going to have an uninterrupted run for a decade. All of a sudden, this kid from Davidson shows up named Steph Curry, and he's hitting 35-footers in the clutch. I love him. I think he's the best player today, although Durant has been unbelievable in these playoffs. But Curry's the guy that gets them there. If Durant is fantastic, but he was a guy that left Oklahoma City, and that's a stain on him, no matter what. Yep. Curry was already there. They already won titles there. I'm going to go Steph Curry, number 9. Any problem with that one?
No, not at all. I got Karl Malone at number 10. I got Curry at number 9. And who do we have at number 8?
Okay. At number 8, I have Kevin Durant. And I never thought I'd say this. Because Kevin Durant, now, he's more relaxed. There's people that will argue he's the best player on the team. There's people that argue that Steph Curry's out. I think Steph Curry is the Warriors, is the main guy. I think if he went down tomorrow, there might be a problem. Until I'm watching last night. Steph Curry got hurt in the first quarter, right? Dislocated his finger. Went out of the game. Went to the locker room. And then who took over? Kevin Durant. And they didn't skip a beat. So Durant, I got at number 8. Do you agree with that one?
I like the pick. I'm going to comment on your picks after I've seen the entire list. But we got people in the chat room commenting on every pick. Steven Zimmerman says, no way, Curry is a great shooter, not a great player. And that's your number 9 pick. So
yeah. Golden State had no future. He showed up and they win championships every year. You can look at all the stats you want. When he showed up, they won. Before he got there, they did.
And you're a guy who was a pretty damn good shooter back in your day when you played basketball, so you understand the value.
First of all, the guy shoots from 30 feet away, so he is a special shooter.
Yeah.
But he's a good player. Defensively, offensively, can handle the ball. Although, I'm going to tell you, Aldo, last night the two teams, Houston and Golden State, had 30 turnovers. And it's my contention, I said it on Twitter today, Jordan's teams would have killed these two teams. Would have killed them. They had 3-point shooters. If they wanted to shoot the 3 like they do now, we had Craig Hodges. We had Judd Buechler. We had Hansen. We had a lot of good shoots. Steve Kerr, John Paxson. If they wanted to shoot the 3 and Jordan would kick it out, they would have shot the 3, and they did. And even Michael Jordan was a good 3-point shooter. Number 7. Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
A guy that won 4 titles, was with the Los Angeles Lakers, was with Orlando, with Penny Hardaway.
Yep.
He got it done. And you know what? I got to give him all the credit in the world. He was a big man. Now, somebody's going to say, well, if he had been a foot shorter, he'd be flipping burgers. I understand that. But Shaquille O'Neal, to me, was a force. Okay?
No one's arguing that pick in the chat room. We move on to number 6.
Number 6, Larry Bird.
Birdman.
The Boston Celtics were 20-game winners. He got drafted as a rookie. He holds the record. They won 33 more games the next year. They won over 50. He also hit 3 championships. Also had a great career as a college player, but we don't always count that. We're not counting that. We're counting the best NBA players. Larry Legend is called that. Xavier McDaniel, Charles Barkley, they all know he was a hired assassin. I think that he was the Celtics in the 80s and early 90s, plus he was a Dream Team member. Any problems with Larry Bird on the chat board yet?
No one has disagreed, and I will add this. Out of the players that you've mentioned, Karl Malone at 10, number 9, Curry. I keep forgetting his first name, Stephen Curry. Number 8, Kevin Durant. Number 7, Shaq O'Neal. And number 6, Larry Bird. Out of those 5 players, Larry Bird was the guy who had the largest competitive streak. He won not only because of his talent and so forth, but mostly, I believe, because of his desire, of his will to win. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was. And you know what? When he came into the league, he just transformed it. Along with another guy who I got at number 5. I got Magic Johnson at number 5. Magic Johnson was just a tremendous player. He was ahead of his time.
Yep.
He was a 6'9" guy. He was the same size as Bill Russell. Nobody could pass like him. He took over games. He was a winner in college, a winner in the pros, was clutch. When he needed the big shot, he would make it, and I put him there. I got Magic Johnson at number 5.
Let me tell you this. In his rookie season, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar cannot play against the Sixers in the NBA Finals, and they move Magic, who had been playing point guard all year. They move him to the center position. He has a tremendous game. The Lakers win, and he was the playoffs MVP in his rookie year. The tremendous moment in NBA history.
Yep, 42 points, 15 boards in that game. One of the great games of all time.
Well done.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
I did put a tie. I put a tie up.
Ooh,
okay? I really got 11 guys. Okay?
Okay.
Because I didn't want to keep Kobe out. And I didn't want to keep LeBron out. And LeBron's really the 4th guy. I don't have Kobe in my top 10. I don't. I only have you can only have so many Lakers. I think Shaq was more important to Kobe than Kobe was to Shaq. When Shaq was on that team, they were unstoppable. Once he left, they got to get Pau Gasol. They had to get they got other centers for him. When he didn't have a center, he had props. I know that Kobe put up 80 points. I know that Kobe's a legend. I'm not a Kobe guy. I got LeBron at number 4.
Number 4. I'm surprised he's
number 4.
I'm surprised you had him in the top 5.
I looked at everything.
Okay.
You know what I did?
Sure.
I took my bias of not liking him all that much out of it. I took the fact that he's sitting at home while everybody else is playing.
Yes.
He's probably having a playoff party at his house to watch Denver and somebody else play tonight.
That's right.
Which tarnishes his image and ends the Jordan comparison forever. But I couldn't take away everything else that he's done. I couldn't take away the fact he won at Cleveland.
Yeah.
I couldn't take that away.
Yeah.
Cleveland hasn't won diddly in 50, 60 years. He went back and he won the title. And that was huge. Plus, he's a top 5 guy in every category almost. So I got LeBron at number 4. Number 3, I got Jabbar.
Abdul-Jabbar. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think he's the most complete basketball player from beginning to end we've ever had. In other words, he won at Boys Power Memorial High School in New York. Won every year, championships. Went to UCLA, championships. Went to Milwaukee Bucks, championship first year. Goes to the Lakers, championships with Magic Johnson and the crew. So to me, over any basketball player who's ever lived, from the time he was in high school till the end of his career, wouldn't you say he was the biggest winner ever?
I would agree with that. And I want to have a question for you. The sky hook that was his artistic shot, was it the most difficult shot to defend against in NBA history?
Yes.
I think so, too.
And you know what's amazing? Magic learned it. And he used it even in that game where he had the 42 and 15.
That's right.
So, yeah, he used it. But Jabbar was just dominant. They outlawed the dunk in college because of him. I mean, they took away the dunk because he was so dominant. He couldn't play as a freshman because they had that rule then. But if he had, he would have won that year. So I have a number 3. So I have Malone, Curry, Durant, Shaq, Bird, Magic. Who's number 4?
Number 4 is LeBron.
LeBron. And number 3, I'll send her. Number 2 is Wilt.
Number 2, Wilt Chamberlain. Yes.
100 points a game, that game. Averaged 50 points one year, 25 rebounds. Played 48 and a half minutes a game one season because he played every minute, never sat down. And they used to only have 2 timeouts a half. Now they have 15 a half. So he basically told me, he goes, Mike, they only had 2 timeouts a half. We had 4 timeouts a whole game, for God's sake.
That's amazing.
You know? They widened the lane. They invented goaltending. There's all sorts of rules. He's the number 2 guy because he was just Goliath. Mm-hmm. He was Babe Ruth. He's number 2. And number 1, we all know.
Of course.
That's it. I can never take anybody over Michael, ever. Because he was 6'6" that played 7'5". He was 6'6" that could play a 6-foot shooting guard from the corner. He was 6'6" that could play power forward at a 6'9" clip. He did it all. He won 6 championships. He would have won 8 in a row had he not retired. So what I got is I got Malone, Steph Curry, Durant, Shaq, Bird, Magic, LeBron, Kareem, Wilt, and Jordan. And I didn't put Kobe on the team. I would have put him 11th or 12th.
You know what? It's hard to argue with this list. And now at 10, 9, 8, 7, that's when, usually people debate about who should be in that second half. But the top 5, top 6 players, people will always have these guys on their list. And MJ, 90% of the time, and I'm talking people around the world who know NBA basketball really well, they will always pick Michael Jordan as the best player. So it's not a homer type thing with you. You're going with what most people say. This guy really was the greatest.
Hey, look, first of all, I'm not a big Laker fan. Yet, I picked Wilt, who was on the Lakers. Mm-hmm. Alcindor, Jabbar, who's on the Lakers. Mm-hmm. Magic, on the Lakers. Shaq, on the Lakers. I went by talent. I didn't put Kobe on. I just, you know what? I take LeBron. And Michael, there's only so many guards you could have, And I had forwards like Durant and Bird. You got guys that are, Magic was unbelievable. It's a tough list. I could see where people who like Kobe would be pissed at me. But, hey, when your number 2 guard is Jordan, Kobe's going to sit on the bench anyway. That's just the way it is. And I'll tell you what, we're going to have our picks in a minute, folks. But before I do, the picks are brought to you by the fine folks at Vegas Scores and Odds. That's VegasScoresandOdds.com. Check out the toll board. Call the toll-free number, 1-800-808-3419. That's 1-800-808-3419 right now. And win with me, folks, at Vegas Scores and Odds. Check out the front page and check out everything else. Now, Aldo, it is time.
It is time to make the
your
picks.
Favorite.
Oh, yes. I got the music, too. Did you hear that? The music is up.
Oh, the anthem.
I've missed it.
Oh, my gosh, I got the chills. The hair on the back of my neck is standing up.
I love it.
Okay. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen. I have one game that's I picked on Vegas Scores and Odds. This is the only time I'm going to give you a game that I picked on Vegas Scores and Odds. Now, I picked 2 games on Vegas Scores and Odds tonight, so check them out if you want to go there. But I'm going to give one of them away. It's a 9 o'clock game. and I want everybody to check it out. I already picked it out. I know my members have already paid, and I'll give them a free pick, believe me, folks. But I want to show you how to do this. You go there, you buy a package, you say you want to buy the Mike North package, you get all my picks. You pay, if you pay for the week, you get all my picks for 7 days. You know, I usually put 2 or 3 picks up there. And my first pick of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the Angels of Los Angeles. I don't even know where they play anymore, for God's
I
sake.
know,
They
it's
play
crazy.
1 minute in Anaheim, the next minute they're at the Orange Bowl. I don't know where they're at. Trout, they rock Trout all the time. Pujols is 100 years old. That being said, I had them last night in Barn Burner. They won that game. I like the Angels minus the 105 tonight as a pick for our people on the board. I'm 13-7 here at the wonderful barroom picks here on Vegas Scores and Odds. So, and I'm also 500 on the odds couple. I've been having a great run. We're having some fun. So tonight, the Angels with our first pick at minus 105. My second pick is going to be the Portland Trail Blazers getting 4. Portland getting 4. Denver looked unstoppable the other night. Jokic looks like the real deal. You heard the great, by the way, Popovich signs a 3-year, is going to sign a 3-year extension. But he said that this guy Jokic is magnificent. He may be, but I still love Damian Lillard, who the other day said, you know, they asked him about pressure, and he says, pressure, man, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I think I told the story Monday. It's like pressure means how you're going to feed your kids. You know, the homeless guy that needs a meal, the mother that's got no money and she's got 3 kids. That's pressure. I sort of like this kid. I've ridden him a little bit. They lost the last game, but I'm going to take Portland plus the 4. And my last game of the night is going to be the St. Louis Blues. Now, this is something we've got to take a chance here. It's plus 1.5 at minus 260. So that means you have to put 260 win 100. I only want to win 100. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to take care of the Blues in that game.
Excellent.
And those are my 3 picks.
All
I
right.
got the Angels, Portland, and the Blues.
Okay, I got to tell you, there are people in the chat room that when you mention the St. Louis Blues, they start to gag because here in Chicago, of course, there's a natural rivalry between those 3 teams. But I got to tell you, I got to remind all Chicago Blackhawk fans that the St. Louis Blues are the longest active team in the NHL to have not won a Stanley Cup final. And in fact, they have only been in the finals 3 times, and it was their first 3 years in the league. Do you remember, Mike, when they brought in the 6 expansion teams in the NHL and they gave them their own division, and so you'd have a Stanley Cup final with one of the top 6 great teams against the Blues, an expansion team? That was so
exactly
stupid.
right. The Blues and Red Berenson was their captain,
Yes.
and they had the Barclay Flager. They had the Flager brothers.
That's right.
They had. I remember those teams, and I remember when they put them in. So, absolutely. But that means nothing. That means nothing to me.
It's nothing.
I don't care what happened 30 years ago. We're trying to win tonight.
That's right.
So, that's what I'm going to do. I got the Angels, I got Portland, I got the Blues. Those are my Vegas Scores and Odds.com picks of the night.
I love it. What a way.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, what a way to end the show. And I want to remind people that next week, Vegas Scores and Odds presents the Mike North Advantage. Will be live at 3 p.m. Central. Live, 3 p.m. Central. We'll get the podcast up about 90 minutes later at about 4:30 Central, maybe 4:15. That way you guys will have all the latest information on Mike's betting tips for that night. And our other Mike North Advantage show is now on Mondays. It'll be Mike and me. We'll have occasional guests. We're going to have tons of fun. We'll talk a lot of Chicago sports. And there's plenty of other stuff on the Bears Barroom Radio Network. If you want to stop by there and take a look at I Have a Stream with the Tooch or our last draft.
I have a stream.
love it. And we've got tons of programming and more programming coming up on the network. So we love you all for listening. Mike, you hit another home run. You scored another touchdown. You got a dunk. You did it all.
Vegas scores and odds. We love you.